The Indiana Fever were leading. They were fighting. They were doing everything a young, hungry team should do against the defending champions. But then, a series of whistles ripped the game right from their hands. Suddenly, the Las Vegas Aces were at the foul line again and again. A'ja Wilson was throwing elbows with no consequence, and Aliyah Boston couldn't even get a fair challenge acknowledged. Fans at Gainbridge saw it with their own eyes. Social media saw it replayed in slow motion. And the box score, cold and unflinching, proved the truth. The Aces didn't outplay the Fever. They were handed that win. What makes it worse is that the officiating overshadowed Lexi Hull's gritty, career-defining performance. She gave everything she had, playing through pain, willing her team to stay alive in the fight. Yet instead of celebrating her night, all the talk was about whistles. Do you think the Fever can bounce back? If yes, then comment, "Let's go Fever." The robbery was clear in key moments. A'ja Wilson set a screen where she blatantly extended her leg out, and instead of calling the illegal screen on her, the refs blew the whistle on Lexi Hull. Moments later, Wilson and Alyssa Smith clearly fouled Michaela Timson, yet there was no call. That possession could have put Indiana ahead by 1 point going into halftime, but instead, Vegas got the whistle. Indiana went from fighting for a slim lead to being punished for simply playing. So the pattern was obvious. The Fever didn't get calls when they were getting hit, but the Aces got calls when nobody touched them. Game 3 was ugly, but let's not pretend this was the first time Indiana had to fight two teams at once, the Aces and the officials. From the very beginning of the series, the officiating leaned toward Las Vegas like a crutch, tilting the balance of competition. Everyone saw it in Game 1. The Aces were crawling back into the game at the free throw line, while Indiana's physical play was treated like a crime. The Fever stood tall defensively, bodied up, forced tough shots, yet somehow those possessions always ended with the Aces shooting free throws. That set the tone for the series. By Game 2, the pattern had grown louder. The whistles piled up quarter after quarter, and what started as small frustrations snowballed into a steady drain on Indiana's rhythm. Stephanie White, the Fever's head coach, had no choice but to call it out after the game. She said it was nearly impossible to find rhythm when there was a foul called every 10 seconds, when Vegas lived at the line, and Indiana couldn't get up and down the floor to establish their offense. Offense is about rhythm. It's about spacing, timing, comfort, and when that rhythm gets disrupted by constant stoppages, it kills momentum. That's exactly what Vegas wanted. By Game 3, it wasn't just a pattern. It was a wall Indiana couldn't climb. The nightmare sequence came in the third quarter. Aliyah Boston tried to challenge a foul call on Jackie Young. Stephanie White motioned for the review. The Fever's bench was ready, but the officials wouldn't even acknowledge it. Seconds later, Chelsea Gray buried a three-pointer. In a blink, Indiana's lead vanished. The building went from roaring with energy to gasping in disbelief. That swing wasn't earned through talent. It was stolen by whistles. Fans inside Gainbridge exploded with fury, waving arms, screaming at refs who shrugged it off like background noise. Clips of the exchange went viral online almost instantly. Analysts and fans broke it down frame by frame, showing how the ignored challenge changed the game in a single possession. Those same videos exposed flops, cheap elbows, and blatant pushes from the Aces that drew nothing. A'ja Wilson shoved opponents in the back. No whistle. Aliyah Boston got hacked under the basket. Play on. Then the same play on the other end resulted in an automatic foul for Vegas. It didn't feel like oversight anymore. It felt like favoritism. Wilson could bulldoze Boston, defenders could be tossed to the ground, flailing arms suddenly became defense as long as you wore a Vegas jersey. Meanwhile, every ounce of Indiana contact was treated like a felony. But through it all, one Fever player refused to let this night be about bad officiating. Lexi Hull. She wasn't supposed to be out there at all. After aggravating her back in Game 1, she was questionable heading into Friday. She was limited in practice, her movement stiff, and even in warm-up she didn't look ready. Fans weren't expecting much. But instead of logging a few minutes to spell her teammates, Hull delivered one of the most inspiring playoff performances in Fever history. She scored 16 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, dished 4 assists, blocked 2 shots, and stole the ball once. She shot 6 for 10 from the field, including 3 massive three-pointers. Each one felt like oxygen when the Aces were threatening to suffocate the game. Those threes tied her with a franchise playoff record for most triples across 2 games, 8 in total. She fought through pain to give Indiana her playoff career high, and it wasn't just the numbers. It was how she earned them. Diving onto the hardwood, wrestling for rebounds against taller opponents, boxing out frontline stars, refusing to let possessions die. You could see the pain etched on her face, yet she fought through it to knock down clutch shots. The fans connected with her heart immediately, but that's why the night stings. Hull gave her team everything. She delivered a performance that deserved the spotlight, only for it to be buried under controversy. In many ways, she embodied this Fever team, beaten down, underestimated but refusing to give in. And here's the kicker. While Hull was leaving everything on the floor, the supposed face of the league was missing in action. A'ja Wilson opened the night with a three-pointer, then vanished. By halftime, she was 1 for 11 from the field. By the end of the game, she finished 6 for 20 with 13 points. That's not just below her standard. That's flat out bad for a starter, let alone an MVP candidate. Aaliyah Boston hounded her all game, forcing contested shots, denying her comfort, and making efficiency impossible. Yet despite being bottled up, Vegas still won, because whistles softened the blow and teammates picked up the slack. Jackie Young dropped 25 points, Chelsea Gray added 15, and others chipped in just enough to carry Vegas. And the media? Instead of focusing on Wilson's failure, many outlets padded the narrative with talk of her all-around impact, or shifted the credit to Vegas's depth. What got ignored was the truth. Indiana's defense made Wilson look mortal. That should have been the story. Instead, we're left with a hollow victory for Vegas. They didn't dominate. They didn't crush Indiana with talent. They survived because the whistles protected them, because role players bailed them out. That's not greatness. That's an escape. Now all eyes turn to Gainbridge Fieldhouse for Game 4. Indiana's season hangs in the balance. One loss and it's over. But this isn't just about survival anymore. It's about pride. It's about proving that the Fever belong, no matter what breaks go against them. Becky Hammon is already laying the groundwork, complaining about Indiana's physicality and hinting that officiating might tilt toward the home team. The irony is laughable. After 3 games of Vegas living at the line, now she wants to suggest the scales could tip the other way. That tells you how nervous Vegas is heading into Gainbridge, because Gainbridge will not be quiet. 17,000 Fever fans are ready to make life miserable for Vegas. Every stop, every bucket, every Lexi Hull three-pointer will turn the building into a storm. The Fever's plan is simple. Push tempo, feed Boston early, let Mitchell bounce back, and ride Hull's momentum. Vegas has cracks and Indiana knows it. Game 4 is the line in the sand. It's not just about survival. It's about exposing how hollow the Aces' wins look without the whistles.